this absolutely magnificent spot. I'm down here at the lagoon again in Plettenberg Bay, and I'm really just pondering freedom. I've been pondering that a lot lately, what it means to be free. And it's been a question I've asked myself a lot in my life. It's something that I've always been chasing. What is freedom, you know? I've always been trying to access a sense of freedom for myself, and I've come to realize over the years that freedom means different things to everybody, really. And we all have our own subjective view of what it means to be free. But for me, freedom essentially means being able to spend time in places such as this, beautiful, natural, resonant wilderness spaces. Because for me, the wilderness is our sovereignty. It is our connection to the world. It is our space of healing. It is a place where we can access well-being on every single level, spiritual, emotional, physical. It's really everything. I mean, nature is where it's at for me, and I've always tried to find ways of enabling me to be in natural spaces. I remember when my dad died in 2001, it sparked a massive enlightening experience for me, an awakening, and I started to realize that the way that I had been brought up in my culture in the outskirts of Johannesburg was not a sustainable way of being for me. And so I started looking deeper into the truth of my life and exploring various ways of being free. And the more I explored, the more I realized we were enslaved in a system that was not sustainable for any sense of real freedom. And my initial reaction to that was really one of panic, and I shut myself down. I literally shut myself out of society. I lived on a farm in Magaliesburg with my children. I lived alone. I literally chopped wood and carried water. I lived as off the grid as I could. I grew my own veggies. I had chickens, and for 4 or 5 years I lived as close to the land as possible, because at that point in my life that was freedom. You know, not having to depend on a system, not engaging. You know, I thought that by not engaging I was actually doing something to help. And after 5 years of doing this, though I learned a lot about living sustainably, I also realized that I was very disempowered, you know, not having enough money even to put fuel in my car. You know, if my children were sick, I couldn't take them to the doctor, etc. So yeah, I went from living really close to the land to realizing that I need to maybe fight the system. And so I started getting involved in opposing the banksters and money-free movements, and spent very many years trying to activate a sense of sovereignty by opposing the system. And one thing I realized while I was doing that is that how I felt was mirrored by hundreds of thousands of people around the world, that so many of us are awakening to the realization that the system is enslaving us, and that there needs to be something done in order to, lift the suppression, because people are not healthy, they're not connected, we're not living lives anymore, we're just driven consumers, and there's very little meaning to our lives. So after another 5 years of fighting the system, I had a massive turnaround where I just really stopped and thought, what the fuck am I doing with my life, because ultimately none of it's bringing me closer to where I really want to be. This is where I really want to be, So I started looking for something that can empower me, and I managed to come across this system, an actual system that it works, and it works. We can make it work for us. And what I mean by that is that instead of fighting the system, instead of opposing the system, to use a system to empower individuals, to empower us so that we, in our own individual capacities, can be empowered enough to make our own choices. And for me, my choice would be to spend as much time with my family out in nature. Like these guys, they're looking for mushrooms, So I want to ask you guys a question. I want to just have you think about something. In that, would it be worth it if, for a relatively small investment into a product that is really well known to have incredible health benefits, so for a relatively small investment into your own sense of well-being, your own health, in other words, within integrity, it's not an investment into a corporation that's destroying the environment or uprooting indigenous cultures, etc. It's all within integrity. And for a period of between 3 and 12 months, to be able to get your return on your investment and also replace your salary or your main source of income, so that you can be location independent and be able to spend time in places like this with your family. Would it be worth it? Because if you're like me and you recognize that life's moving on, life is really a really short window in our lives, and we really need to live it as fully as possible, and enjoy as deep an experience as we possibly can. Do you think that it's worth it to be able to start an online business and begin to access a whole new way of being so that you can spend more time in nature? And if you do think it's worth it, just pop me a note in the comments, because I'd love to share this with you. I'd love to get people back into nature, I'd love for as many individuals to be able to spend as much time as possible in nature, because that's when we'll have a profound shift in our culture and our set of values, because the more people spend time in nature, the more they connect with the world, and the less they spend their time in shopping malls, etc. So think about that, and I'd love to hear from you what you think, and look forward to connecting with you. Thanks so much.